This station was built in 1913. It certainly became the hub of the town, the little hamlet, and it was, once they established a station master here, then the people were able to take the train to Camrose, even to go to school. This is the Canadian Northern Station. This is the original track that was here. There's a coal shed, and then you have the freight shed. If you'd like to come inside, I'll show you some of the other things in there. This is the waiting room, and this old pot-belly stove certainly kept people warm while they're waiting for the train. And so they would sit here, and many of think about this as a farming community. They talk about the weather, they talk about their farms and what was going on. So, and if this is, of course, this is your ticket wicket. Now, if we were coming in here in the olden days, this door would be closed because nobody was allowed in the office except the agent. But this is the agent's office. This station is one of the only one in Canada on site that has been restored. And so you have all of these things here are all original. This is all original flooring, and this is all the original lath and plaster, which of course has been repaired. We'll go into the freight shed here. And being a farming community, you can see that they ship their cream, they ship their butter, their eggs, and many people, like I said, got on that train. And you could go to Edmonton in one day and come back. It's an interesting thing here. This is a man, he used to ship bread in this box to and from Bashaw. Across the way from the station was the stockyards. So of course people would bring their cattle, their sheep, their horses, whatever, and they would ship it by train. If you look at these, what these are is that if it was a non-restricted order, that means that there's nobody down the track that train has to wait for, then they would just hold this up to the engineer or the conductor and they would grab the order. So it didn't have to stop here in that case. Now the family lived here, and they lived a very traditional way. I think there was a little church over here, there was a school here, and I think about the kids out at the hills here, they would go tobogganing, and the kids they always had chores, because of course they had to chop the wood for the coal stove here, and everybody had they were quite a team, and so this would have been their living room. And then in the kitchen here again, you have a coal stove. They were used, of course, they were heated the water. Here's their water tank, and irons were put on there to be able to iron. They had to keep the house warm with that. There was a pipe that went into the upstairs, and they would bank this fire in the nighttime before going to bed, and then they would put on lots of quilts, and this would help to keep them warm. And usually a mother would have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get it going so the kids could get up. So it was kind of cozy though. It didn't have running water. Had a pump the water came from outside, and but it was still, I think, quite a comfortable home. Even though there wasn't any, until 1950s, there wasn't any insulation in the walls at all. So you just had to keep warm sitting around that fire. Now there's the back porch here, and like every house or place in that day, they have the back porch because this is where the washing was done, and of course you'd have to haul the water in, put it in that boiler, heat it on the stove before you could have a bath or before you could do the washing. And lots of things were stored in here, and that fridge is actually a 1940 fridge that still works. So let's just take a walk upstairs. The agent and their family lived in here, and so you had these rooms would be, this is a bed, we have this restored to a 1950 bedroom, and kids played a lot in their bedroom, but they also played a lot outside. They played games, they read a lot, It was great. It was a great life. And in here, this was a bedroom too, which is now has lots of history on the elevators in the area, not just at Meeting Creek. Interesting thing about Meeting Creek is that they had a hotel, and in the hotel they had a swimming pool, and it was filled with the mineral water that came from the bentonite. It's called steam baths, and people would get on the train, come here on a Friday evening, go have their bath, stay overnight, maybe stay in the hotel, have a few beers or whatever, and then they would go back on the train the next day.